Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily news television show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
We are proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company vidIQ, as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 10 million views.
We are also proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida. We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in the LGBTQ community. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
That's right, Greg, and it is Wednesday, March 5th, 2025. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we'll tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ plus evening news show.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ community. Our mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 10,000 LGBTQ television stories. We will produce the 25th anniversary of our Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival on June 14th. We present Pride Fest in August and Pride Fort Lauderdale in February. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2025, more than 100 community leader anchors will host this show to support the LGBTQ plus community. Let's meet today's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome back to the table anchor Alex Morash. Alex has served as editor-in-chief of Options Magazine, media director of the National LGBTQ Task Force, and press secretary for the Florida Democratic Party. Alex, welcome back, baby. So the Watermelon Club Comedy Club fundraiser for Palestine is on Friday. Tell me what's happening.
Sure thing, Faye. You know, this Friday night, the Villain Theater in Miami presents a special stand-up comedy show at 10 p.m. featuring top local talent. The show, a fundraiser for Palestine, is hosted by Tarek Tirjaman and will feature comedians Allison McCoy, Cotton Wood, Omar Kador, Victoria Haig, Al D, and Michael Coonan. Following the comedy performances, you'll be able to enjoy a drag show by Bad Poppy. All proceeds from the evening will go to Gaza's families facing extreme hunger and shelter shortages. Support a good cause while enjoying a night of laughter. For updates on future shows, follow Villain Theater on Instagram. And I'm just so happy that we are talking about this event and giving it an option to make sure people know that you can help support Palestinian families. And I give Hotspots so much credit because just talking about this event can get people fired. You know, I'll be honest with that. I have a privilege where I can talk about this sort of stuff, and I don't care if I get blacklisted in the employment job market. And this is to help everyday people. I saw on TikTok this morning a Palestinian who lives in Gaza. He was doing a joke to show how bad it is there. He's like, in Gaza, we don't use, we use Linux because we don't have Windows or walls, and then it shows all the devastation.
Oh, my goodness.
It's sad that it's just devastating, but at the same time, I'm glad that video is finally getting out of Gaza again, and they're trying to show people what's going on. And this is such an important event to go to if you can.
Well, and what a cool TikToker to be able to make light of such an awful situation, to have a sense of humor. Us and LGBTQ as a marginalized society, we know that if we can't make fun of certain situations, we won't live them out. I mean, you know what I mean? To be completely honest, it's hard to really feel and look around and see the devastation and see what your neighbors have gone through, what your family has gone through, and to still make light of it,
We always say that tragedy plus time equals comedy.
Oh,
That's
wow.
the
I love
equation.
that.
That's
I
what
love that.
equals.
Well, and
That's-
Tarek, so Tarek Turjaman, he is a Queer News Tonight anchor. He has been on the FayWhat show a couple of times. The kid is funny
Hilarious.
AF. He is funny AF, okay? And right now, you need to laugh about certain things, you know? And so, I mean, the Villain Theater is always on cutting edge of this kind of comedy. So I give them kudos for that. Bad Poppy has also been at this table as an anchor as well. You've seen him. And he is just outspoken, outlandish, don't give a F, you know? You take him how he is, and that is it, you know? And that's already so inviting for a comedy night, you know? It makes me want to go and be a part of it.
Right, and I know this is a cause that is near and dear to Tarek's heart, and with that lineup, it should be great.
Yes, yes. And Tarek is Palestinian, and he's also Latino as well. So he really does represent a lot, and he is a gay man. You know what I mean? So he checks off a bunch of the boxes. Go and support if you can. You know, follow up and look up the Villain Theater and everything that they're doing online as well. All right. So Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you all at the Watermelon Club Comedy Club fundraiser for Palestine on Friday. Next up, let's welcome my friend. He's Gregg Shapiro. That's Gregg with 2 G's, baby. He's an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the author of 2 short story collections and 7 books of poetry. Gregg, Latino Salud invites you to meet the models on March 8th. Tell me what's happening.
Latinos Salud will host a special private event, Meet the Models, on Saturday, March 8th from 5 to 7 p.m. at their Wilton Manors location. In a month marked by challenges, this gathering offers a hopeful celebration of inclusion and community. The event will introduce some of the patients and models participating in Latinos Salud's new health campaign, showcasing the diversity and strength within the community. While attendance is free, pre-registration is required to secure a spot. For more details and to sign up, visit latinossalud.org. You had me at hopeful celebration of inclusion and community for sure, not to mention models.
I was going to say nothing to do with the models, Gregg. I was like, you know, Gregg is all cute about it. He's like, you had me at inclusivity because we all must stick together during these trying times.
Models!
How about that? Yeah.
Hot models, hot models. You know, Latino Salud knows what they're doing, okay? They're an incredible, incredible organization. They help so many people. It's not just for Latinos, so let's be clear on that. They've got a location by Wilton Collective in Wilton Manors. Their opening was incredible. They've got a gala coming up. You know, they really are trying to get themselves in the community, showing the community that they represent the community, you know? And I mean, what better way to get us there with some hot models? Models. Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you all at Latino Salud Meet the Models on March 8th.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, FayWhat. She is a legendary event host, television and radio personality, and the host of Hotspots Happening Out's The FayWhat Show. Faye, Think Hard, Play Harder Trivia Night is on March 8th at the Eagle. Since you're, you know, the queen of leather, tell me what's happening.
Think hard.
Yeah.
Play hard. You get it? Yeah. So on Saturday, March 8th, the Eagle Wilton Manors will host a fun-filled trivia night for a cause. From 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., the event led by Razor Steele, who I adore, Mr. Eagle Wilton Manors 2025, and myself, FayWhat, we promise an exciting evening of 10 trivia rounds. Each round will feature questions related to a gay label, emphasizing Razor's platform of uniting the community beyond labels. The entry fee is $20 per person, with teams of 2 to 4 players. Participants will enjoy bar, snacks, drink discounts, and a surprise game after the 5th round. Prizes will be awarded to the top 3 teams, and a 50-50 raffle will add extra excitement and your chance to walk away with some money in your pocket. All funds raised will support the ALS Recovery Fund and Mr. Eagle's Travel Fund. For more details, visit the event's online page at the Eagle Wilton Manors. So I adore the Eagle, okay? When you think of the Eagle, you think of a leather bar, you think of harnesses, you think of like big, yummy, hairy men. And yes, that's all true. But they are also one of the most welcoming and inclusive places ever. Like, people have like this weird stereotype of leather bars, and maybe it's true for other leather bars, but it really isn't for the Eagle. I mean, they really do open up their doors to everybody, you know. Salvo Mule is the owner over there at the Eagle, and he is always about inclusivity. He's always about opening up the place to other nonprofit organizations for them to have a chance to maybe fundraise or whatever. And that's exactly what we're doing Saturday afternoon, 5 to 8 p.m. We're going to be raising some money playing trivia in our best harnesses. So make sure you bring your harness.
Well, and what's not to love about the combo of FayWhat, trivia, and razor steel?
Right. And the thing I love about this particular Eagle is if you don't have your own harness, they have a little shop right there. So like, I'll just like drunkenly show up and like, I have nothing for this event. I could go shopping while I'm at the Eagle. This is wonderful. So
how many have you bought over the years?
I bought like a t-shirt or two there, but like, it's nice to have the option. Okay,
of
calling
course. And after a couple of cocktails, you might get, you know, more than just that. I mean, you know, you might even find your boyfriend for the evening. You just never know.
Could be.
Don't worry, Gil, you're good. And you know what? Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Think Hard, Play Harder Trivia Night on March 8th.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm FayWhat, and let's queer up the USA view. New report shows half of books banned in 2024 were about LGBTQ and Black. A new report from PEN America reveals that more than half of the books banned last school year, focused on people of color or LGBTQ plus individuals. The nonprofit group, which supports free expression in literature, released data showing that over 10,000 book removals occurred last year, affecting 4,218 titles. The analysis highlights that 36% of banned books featured people of color, and 25% included queer characters. Of these LGBTQ books, 28% had transgender or genderqueer characters. Books featuring disabled characters made up 10% of the banned titles. PEN America's Sabrina Bayeta calls this targeted censorship a harmful assault on marginalized populations. She said, quote, "When we strip library shelves of books about particular groups, we defeat the purpose of a library," end quote. In 2024, the American Library Association recorded the highest number of book challenges ever. Last year, banned genres included realistic fiction, dystopian fiction, history, and biographies. PEN America found that marginalized identities often intersected in banned books. Over half of LGBTQ books also featured people of color. In Florida, the Department of Education removed books such as The Bluest Eye and Slaughterhouse-Five, claiming no books were banned. Critics argue that book bans harm students by restricting access to diverse perspectives. As more students identify as LGBTQ or people of color, these bans erase essential stories and experiences from classroom. And that's exactly it. You know, LGBTQ plus folks and Black folks were so scary that they don't want you to learn about us. Okay, at all, you know, so they want to...
They're probably in the same classroom. How do you explain that? How do you explain that to the kid?
You know, how do you explain that to the kid that I'm like, hey, I want to learn about him, right? I want to learn about this person and this trans child that I go to school with every day. Sorry, we can't. There are none. You know, I mean, you're a writer, you know, and I mean, how does this wash over you, Greg?
Well, part of me just thinks I would love to have one of my books banned because the attention is so great. And we are really lucky to have PEN America doing the essential work they do. And Ms. Bayeta makes a trenchant point when she says, quote, "When we strip library shelves of books about particular groups, we defeat the purpose of a library," end quote. I mean, so well said. And I mean, it's just, it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
No. So at least there are still bookstores where parents, smart parents, educated parents, informed parents can take their kids.
Yeah.
Plus there are also, aren't there like online libraries that are stepping up to fill in those blanks for kids where their schools are being banned?
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
And then hopefully people have access to it, you know?
Yeah. So looking at this report, well, I think PEN America did do a very good report. You know, the PEN America does, I will say PEN America doesn't always have the best history on free speech, but this was a great report on their part. You know, I was fascinated at how much intersection there was.
Oh my God,
of stories that were both queer and marginalized other communities, but also reminds us, like, you know, fiction is a place where you're able to really try and bring out these other things, especially in writing, that you don't get to, the TV won't show, that movies aren't going to show, you know, that you don't always get a sense, and to ban them, it is so
biographies,
hard, right?
Alex, biographies.
I know.
Like, I don't, you know, listen, I go back to me being a little queer girl, okay, trying to figure out myself in the world, right? Not having my parents to talk to about this, not having somebody older that was gay that I could go to, right? I remember sitting in that aisle in the library under special interest, or it was something like, it was always like a weird aisle, okay, but you knew what was there. And I just remember sitting on the floor with a bunch of books around me going, oh my God, I'm not crazy. I'm not weird. I'm not as different as I think I am. There are other people out there that feel this way. And I'm not I'm not going to hell like the church keeps on telling me to.
Right.
So to not give that access to other kids breaks my freaking heart.
Well, and the fact that you had the wherewithal to know, to go and look, there were places, there were resources, and now those books won't even be on the shelves.
Right. The one thing I think we also should mention with PEN America, I believe they have a Florida group. I don't know what their Florida group's been up to lately, but that is something that we have as hope down here. Is hopefully they'll take on some of the things happening in our legislature that's coming this year.
Yeah. Well, look, and we're thinking about us as LGBTQ plus, right? Okay, we're banned, right? But now let's talk about BIPOC community, right? How are you restricting that knowledge?
Right.
You know what I mean? Okay, you have an issue with who we sleep with in bed. Okay, but what the hell does that have to do with being black? You're black no matter what, you know? So I don't get, it's just literally telling people that you could be a racist piece of shit.
It's about erasure,
well, that's why they don't want, that's why they're banning it. Many white supremacist groups don't like even any mention of the word supremacist. They don't want white people to be portrayed in a negative light. And I'm like, oh, you poor baby.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Okay. And my last comment on this, how about the 10% of books that we're taking out that included disabled folks?
Again, what's the harm? Why not?
How?
Why not learn about these?
But why not teach other people to be less dicks against people who are marginalized?
Because then you humanize them and you're less likely to be able to get kids that aren't going to want to do terrible things to them. That's where these sorts of bans always come from a place of hate at the end of the day.
For sure.
Yeah, it really, wow. This is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Alex Morash, and let's queer up Florida and South Florida. The 60 most dangerous days for LGBTQ in Florida have begun. March 4th marked the start of Florida's 2025 legislative session with what Equality Florida calls the 60 most dangerous days for LGBTQ rights. Equality Florida's team is working to review hundreds of bills that could impact our community. One thing is clear, DeSantis and the GOP supermajority are pushing a dangerous agenda aimed at limiting our freedoms. These bills target LGBTQ rights in alarming ways. They would make local pro-equality policies illegal, allowing residents to sue local governments for any diversity ordinances. The governor could even remove commissioners who support such policies. A new Don't Say Gay or Trans at Work bill could ban state offices from accepting job applicants who identify as transgender or non-binary. Bills being considered also aim to erase pride representation in public spaces, restricting everything from flags to coffee cups. They target diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and social justice measures. The agenda is clear, to erase the progress made in supporting minority groups. These efforts distract from the real issues like rising housing costs and insurance challenges that everyday Floridians face. Pride at the Capitol is crucial. On March 18th and 19th, Florida will gather with other equality organizations to make its voices heard. There will be a training session, legislative meetings, and a press conference. On March 20th, there will also be a powerful Let Us Live march led by transgender leaders. Together, we can make a difference. And, I was looking at the legislative session as beginning. It's a mess. You got the governor, the speaker, and the Senate president all have random different agendas. They have had no coordination. So that's the only hope the good hope we have on that. I was very happy to see the Democratic leader of the House, Frantrice Driscoll. She says Ron DeSantis is scrambling for political relevance with no plan to help Floridians. And like, we need to hear more of that, Dems.
Yes.
Keep that up, attack on this. And she also continued on talking about like, he's just trying to gin up social culture wars and all that. And I love it. Now, I'd love to see the Democratic Senate leader, my senator, do that, but he's too busy talking to the Sun Sentinel that he thinks Democrats are anti-Semitic or something. But thank God for our Dem leader in the House. Keep up the good work, and we all need to like be working on this stuff.
Yes,
for
I think
sure.
DeSantis hears that clock ticking down for him. You know, we keep hearing about crazy-eyed Casey DeSantis and brain-dead Byron Donalds wanting to be the next governors of Florida. Did I miss the candidate that the Democrats are putting forward?
I already mentioned him.
That's the best they're going to do? Is that really the best they're going to do?
It's sad.
I really hope they can select someone more viable who can defeat the toxic Republican ticket.
Seriously. And let's talk about pride at the Capitol. So important for this to happen. I know that my good friend Adriana Tender from Trans Inclusive Group, her and Tatiana Williams, who is the head there over at Trans Inclusive, I know that a couple of the other trans organizations locally are heading up there. It's important. It's important to be seen, you know, in numbers, to be out there showing that we're not going anywhere and we're not going to step down, you know.
Are they doing any kind of like buses up there?
Yes,
They are doing,
yes,
okay.
yes. So if anybody wants to go get on up there and go to Tallahassee, make sure you reach out to one of these trans inclusive group or trans social or, you know, or even the McKenzie Project. A lot of them are putting groups together to head on up there and make our voices heard, because I mean, this is just crazy. They're trying to erase the T. They're trying to erase us all. You know what I mean? I feel like it's like, what was that movie, Back to the Future, where the picture starts erasing the people slowly, right? And like slowly but surely, like, oh, nobody will notice that we're just going to drop the T and the Q from the acronym. No, mother effers, we're not. Okay, we're unified, we're together. You mess with one of us, you're going to mess with all of us.
Exactly. And like, some things like Equality Florida, I get their focus on the specifically anti-LGBTQ legislation. There's some other legislation that's going to indirectly cause severe harm. Specifically, they want to end all property taxes. And you might, how did that affect queer people? And like, I don't like property taxes that much, but like, how is Wilton Manor going to work without property taxes? How is a lot of the LGBTQ groups that get county funding work without property tax? There's a whole host of things that this legislature is trying to do this session. It is absolute insanity.
Wow. Well, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm FayWhat, and let's queer up the worldview. Millions of Aussies see this heartwarming message about Sydney gay Mardi Gras. A video of a straight man supporting his gay friend at Sydney's gay and lesbian Mardi Gras is going viral. The clip, shared by the Australian Broadcasting Corporation on TikTok, shows two older men, David and Will, watching the parade. David, wearing a sparkly leather rainbow hat, is gay, while his friend Will is straight. Will explains that people in his rural hometown are hesitant. They are beginning to accept the LGBTQ community. The video has gained nearly 2 million views, with over 175,000 likes and 1,000 comments. TikTok users have praised Will for his open-mindedness. One comment wished, quote, "May Will always drive into the parking spot he needs. May his pillow always be the perfect temperature," end quote. Meanwhile, Sydney's Mardi Gras parade featured quirky floats, including one from the New South Wales Nurses and Midwives Association. The float, which went viral, had medics in purple scrubs dancing behind a giant baby while Lady Gaga's Born This Way played. Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi!
Bravo.
Did I do that well?
Perfect.
Oh!
Perfect.
I love that. And we need things like this. We need things like this to go viral. You know, we're not so different. These people want people to think that we're like subhuman, that we're like out, like we're just not understandable, that we're from another planet. And we really aren't. We're full of life. We're happy people. We make life more fabulous and fun. Straight people can have a great time at our events. It's not, oh, they're probably going to hit on me. Bitch, you're not that cute. You know what I mean? I hate when people come off and say things like that. You know what I mean? We're just a colorful, fun group of people that make anything, including a funeral, fun.
There's more to us than sex, for sure.
Yes.
And whenever I hear an uplifting story like this, it reminds me that not all Aussies are as revolting and evil as Rupert Murdoch. Twisted family. So I feel good. It's good.
Can I just say, Australians have the most nicest wishes and compliments. I hope you always get a parking spot. Your pillow is the right temperature. I was like, I love that. I wish Americans were that nice.
I know, right? I didn't even think about that. I'm like, and both of those things are very important and like nice, you know, to have. Like, how is it that a place so far away from us seems more tender? Right? And I mean, come on, we all have straight friends. This is a straight world. We live in their straight world, you know?
Maybe that distance is good, though, being far away from all the craziness.
So, fun fact, I think this might be a reason why Australia is so pro-gay, is Priscilla, Queen of the Desert became such a national movie. I'm not joking. They view it as a movie of Australian pride.
That's true.
And I'm like, drag queens can do anything. We need an American version. No offense to Chuang Fu, but it didn't have the same Americana that Australia's. We need something like that. We need like RuPaul to like go to Mount Rushmore.
We have Birdcage. We got to go take them Birdcage. Come on, Birdcage was close enough, right? That was us, kind of. You know, I'm gonna go find an Aussie friend. Just because. That is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Gregg Shapiro, and let's queer up entertainment. Armie Hammer reveals his attempt on Grindr and sleeping with men. Actor Armie Hammer, known for his roles in Call Me By Your Name and The Social Network, revealed he once tried sleeping with other men. In a recent episode of his Armie Hammer Time podcast, Hammer spoke with actress and mental health coach Danny Drews. He said, quote, "I tried hooking up with the dude one time, and it was hilarious," end quote. He met a handsome French man and decided to give it a go. But as the encounter unfolded, he quickly realized it wasn't for him. Quote, "God, beards! I get why women like it when you shave," end quote. He shared that his decision to experiment with men stemmed from dissatisfaction with women. Quote, "Like women are the worst," end quote. Hammer, who played a Grey graduate student in Call Me By Your Name, has faced serious controversies. Several women accused him of sexual harassment, abuse, and violent fantasies, which he denied. Well, you know, I used to have a thing for Armie Hammer.
Did you?
Ever since I first saw him as the Winklevoss twins in The Social Network. And I appreciated his work as queer characters in J. Edgar. He played Clive Tolson and Call Me By Your Name. However, he keeps putting his size 15 foot in his mouth. And while that may earn him some ducats on OnlyFans, saying things such as, quote, "Like women are the worst," end quote, aren't going to do much for his cause.
Right.
And by the way, did you notice he objected more to beards than dicks? Maybe he just needs to meet a clean-shaven bro.
Right? Or maybe a bro that has a Brazilian wax. You know what I mean? Something like that. Like, he's very odd, this guy. I mean, to be so good looking, he's very odd. You know what I mean? Because he is a hottie. If he just didn't talk. No offense.
There are plenty of young men where I'm like, oh, you don't need to talk. Like, with Armie, I have a few things that I first come to mind. One, the trying out with the guy stuff. I'm not entirely surprised because for Call Me By Your Name, I was watching on the YouTube, there's one of those guys that does like the history of all the making of movies, which I always find fascinating. And apparently in Call Me By Your Name, the taping, to get better chemistry on in the film, they were encouraged to spend a lot of time together, and like they would horse around so much that Timothy Chalamet like had a bad bruise at one point. They had to change the way they did. So maybe he was trying some hanky panky with Timothy, and like, he had clean shaven little twinks at that time.
I know.
Clean shaven. Let's be honest. So maybe that's why. Though, like I will say, I've heard of his fantasies, and like he is a rich boy, and I'd like to remind him maybe instead of those fantasies, he should remember that some people want to eat the rich.
Chomp, chomp.
Google it, you'll understand with Armie, okay,
saying.
people?
Good job.
Good job. So that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm FayWhat, and let's queer up the USA view. Evan Lowe named new president and CEO of LGBTQ+ Victory Fund and Institute. Evan Lowe, former California Assembly member and congressional candidate, has been named president and CEO of the LGBTQ+ Victory Fund and Institute. He succeeds Anise Parker, the former Houston mayor, who announced her planned departure earlier this year. Parker stayed on while the search for a new leader was conducted. In the press release issued, Lowe said, quote, "Today we face an existential crisis. The LGBTQ+ community is being systematically legislated out of existence. I am committed to ensuring our voices are not just included, but impossible to ignore," end quote. The Victory Fund works to elect openly queer candidates while the Institute trains them for public office. Joseph Falk, Victory Fund's board chair, expressed about the new appointment, saying, quote, "We're confident that Lowe will help elect more LGBTQ+ leaders and ensure they have the tools to serve," end quote. Lowe, a 41-year-old gay man, has an extensive political background. He was the youngest Asian American elected to the California Assembly in 2014. And we say thank you to Lowe for accepting this appointee because it's so needed. Yeah. You know, we're constantly screaming from this table that we need more people to run for office, okay? Like, God, you know what I mean? Do we have to go Harper on the Democratic, of how they didn't give us a candidate that we needed in time, how we're constantly screaming for them to give us a candidate that we can use, that we can promote, that we can get out there, we can get elected, you know?
He has time now to do that.
I mean, we had time 2 years ago too, Greg. We had time 2 years ago. But I mean, again, but we're talking about the Victory Fund, you know. This new appointee can't come at a better time, at a more needed time. You know, this gentleman has the extensive background that we need to find the right personnel and to also get them trained to do the job. Because let's be real. Anybody LGBTQ+ who's going to run for office has to work thrice
That's right.
as hard
much harder
than anybody else.
Now, as no surprise, the LGBTQ Victory Fund, I'll talk about all the problems I have with the LGBTQ Victory Fund. So first of all, I am glad Lowe's a younger person. He seems like more progressive. They are terrible at recruiting working class candidates. I remember when I ran for office, I filled out their 40-page questionnaire, and I like that they really want a very in-depth look and help, but they really want people of a certain financial background, I've found. And that I have a problem with. And you know, it's, I hope Lowe moves them in a more pragmatic direction, increasing more representation. But like, my biggest problem with the Victory Fund, honestly, is I went to their brunch once in D.C. And I remember they had this nice trans woman, I believe she ran for office in Texas, and she talked about, you know, I ran for office. The Victory Fund, they didn't endorse me during my primary, but I won the primary, so they came in towards the end, and I only lost by 57 votes. And I'm like, so what you're saying is that the Victory Fund actually had done their job in like helping candidates? Maybe you would have gotten those 60 votes. That's the sort of story. Like, and I hope Lowe takes them in a better, more open direction of really helping candidates, because right now, the Victory Fund, as it used to be told to me, was like, it's more of like a clearinghouse for donors to know who to give money to. And I'm like, or let's focus more on training candidates to learn how to organize and win and make their own donor base.
That's what we need.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
That's what we need Lowe to do. And I have faith in him. How about that? Okay. And I think that now you're going to look at the LGBTQ Victory Fund differently in a couple of years. I challenge you.
You can challenge me. They can always recruit me to try and run for something. I'll probably say no, but you know, flattery is how you can get me to say nice things about.
You see?
Well, Lowe definitely has his work cut out for him. Sure. I hope that Lowe can rise to the occasion. See what I did there?
I got it. I see. I love you, Greg. That is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ+ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
As a nonprofit LGBTQ media organization, we would like to thank our viewers for supporting our mission to tell the stories of the queer community. We also want to thank the generous support of Jets Pizzas. Jets is the LGBTQ community's most popular pizza in South Florida.
Take a look around these streets. Do you really think we woke up one day and said, yeah, the world needs more pizza? Nah, just a better one. better, like the world's best pizza, Jet's Detroit-style pizza. Hand-pressed and baked to the thickest, crispiest crunch. You're welcome. Now visit jetspizza.com and save. Click on hot deals for special offers in your area. Jets, better because it has to be.
Those are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. These anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ and allied community.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, FayWhat. And on behalf of these LGBTQ reporters, the incredible anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Alex Morash and Gregg Shapiro. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ plus world, we wish that you will join us by embracing love, generosity, bravery, by being transformative and being queer. Good night.
Night.